God says, listen closely, my beloved soul. Before you scroll away, pause for a moment and breathe slowly, because what you are about to hear is not a message of fear, not a message of panic, but a gentle alert from heaven that something beautiful is quietly unfolding around you, something you have prayed for in silence, something you almost stopped believing in, and tonight your house will not just be walls and a roof, it will become a space where divine presence moves softly and lovingly, where unseen protection stands at every door, where peace begins to replace confusion, and where a shift begins that you may not fully understand at first but you will definitely feel deep inside your spirit. For many nights you have slept carrying thoughts no one knows about, questions you never spoke aloud, worries you smiled through during the day, and heaven has been watching every silent tear, every restless thought, every prayer whispered under your breath. And that is why this message has found you right now, because the Archangel is not trying to scare you. He is trying to prepare your heart gently so that when the shift begins tonight you recognize it as blessing and not coincidence. Tonight, inside your home, something will change, not in a dramatic way, not in a way that shakes the walls, but in a subtle way that touches the atmosphere. You may feel an unusual calmness in one room, you may suddenly feel inspired to clean or rearrange something, you may feel drawn to sit quietly for a few minutes longer than usual, and you might not realize it immediately, but these small impulses are not random, they are alignment, they are preparation, they are the beginning of a spiritual reset inside your personal space. Your house has absorbed your stress, your fears, your disappointments, and even your hopes, and heaven knows that before your life shifts externally, it must shift internally, and before your circumstances change your environment must breathe again, and that is why tonight carries significance, because your home will begin to feel lighter, your thoughts will feel less heavy, and a sense of protection will quietly wrap around you like a warm blanket that you didn't know you needed. You have been asking for a sign, sometimes boldly and sometimes secretly, asking God if you are still seen, if your prayers still matter, if your waiting has meaning, and this is the answer, not through thunder or lightning but through peace, because the greatest alerts from heaven are not loud alarms but gentle awakenings, and tonight your spirit will notice that something feels different, something feels steadier, something feels supported. There may have been tension in your house recently, misunderstandings, financial stress, emotional distance, or simply an atmosphere of exhaustion, but heaven has heard the sighs that came from your heart, and tonight begins a restoration. Conversations will slowly become softer, burdens will slowly become manageable, and what once felt heavy will begin to loosen its grip. Not because of coincidence but because divine intervention often starts quietly before it becomes visible. Do not expect fireworks, expect subtle shifts, do not expect noise, expect clarity, do not expect fear, expect reassurance, because when an archangel alerts you it is not to create anxiety but to invite awareness, to remind you to pay attention to the small changes that signal larger blessings approaching. You may wake up tomorrow and realize that something inside you feels different, more hopeful, more determined, more calm, and you might not even connect it to tonight at first, but later you will look back and understand that this was the moment everything began to turn gently in your favor. This was the night when protection strengthened around your household, this was the night when unseen battles began to settle, this was the night when your prayers started moving toward manifestation in ways you could not yet see. Heaven is not warning you of harm, it is alerting you of preparation, it is saying, stay aware, stay grateful, stay open, because the atmosphere in your home is shifting from worry to peace, from delay to alignment, from confusion to clarity, and the more you receive this calmly, the more smoothly the transition will unfold. There are blessings that cannot enter chaos, there are miracles that require stillness, and tonight's stillness is being placed inside your home. Take a few minutes before sleeping, breathe deeply, release resentment, forgive quietly, and say thank you even before you see results, because gratitude is the key that allows what is coming to fully settle into your life. This alert is love, not fear, it is preparation, not panic, it is protection, not threat. And if you allow yourself to feel it rather than question it, you will sense a warmth in your chest that confirms you are not alone, that your household is watched over, that your future is not abandoned, and that what has been delayed is not denied but timed perfectly. Tonight, light a small prayer in your heart, not because something bad is coming but because something good is positioning itself quietly around you. Trust that doors inside your house and doors in your destiny are both being aligned at the same time, and what you have been waiting for is closer than you think. And if this message feels like it was spoken directly to you, if something inside you whispered, "This is for me," then don't ignore that feeling, because alignment often feels personal before it becomes visible. Carry this peace into your night and allow heaven to do what heaven does best: restore, protect, and prepare. There is a reason your spirit feels slightly different today, a reason your thoughts seem deeper than usual, a reason you keep sensing that something unseen is moving quietly around you, because when heaven prepares a household for blessing, it does not shout, it whispers, and those whispers reach the heart before they reach the ears, and tonight your home is becoming a sacred space of transition, not because something dramatic will happen, but because something spiritual has already begun. You may not see angels standing at your doorway, you may not hear a voice calling your name out loud, but you will feel it in the atmosphere, in the subtle calm that replaces tension, in the unexpected silence that feels comforting instead of lonely, in the small desire to sit still for a few extra minutes before sleeping, and this is how divine presence announces itself. Through peace that cannot be logically explained. Your house has been carrying the weight of your struggles, absorbing your stress after long days, holding the echoes of conversations that did not go the way you hoped, and heaven understands that before your outer world changes, your inner environment must shift, and that shift begins tonight with a quiet cleansing of energy, with a soft restoration of balance, with an invisible protection strengthening around every room, every corner, every doorway. You have prayed inside this house, maybe while sitting on your bed, maybe while standing in the kitchen, maybe in the silence of the night when no one else was awake, and those prayers did not disappear into emptiness. They were heard, recorded in heaven, and now they are being responded to in ways that do not cause fear but bring reassurance, because the Archangel does not alert you to frighten you. He alerts you so that you recognize the blessing when it arrives quietly. Tonight, something inside your household will begin aligning with your destiny, and you may notice it in small ways: a sudden idea that solves a problem you have been worrying about, a conversation that becomes softer instead of tense, a feeling of motivation where there was exhaustion, a clarity about a decision you have been postponing, and you might think it is coincidence, but deep down you will know that it feels guided. There are moments in life when heaven rearranges circumstances behind the scenes without announcing it publicly, and this is one of those moments. Doors that seemed closed are being repositioned, obstacles that felt permanent are weakening, confusion that clouded your thinking is clearing gradually, and the most powerful part of this shift is that it begins within your home, within the place where you rest, where you dream, where you reflect. Because peace at home is the foundation for every miracle outside. You have carried responsibilities quietly, sometimes feeling like you had to be strong for everyone else, sometimes suppressing your own emotions so others could feel secure, and heaven has seen that strength, heaven has seen that sacrifice, and tonight the energy around you shifts from burden to support, from isolation to guidance, from uncertainty to subtle confidence, and this is not dramatic, it is gentle, but gentle changes are the ones that last. Do not underestimate the power of stillness tonight. If you feel drawn to pray, pray. If you feel drawn to forgive someone in your heart, forgive. If you feel drawn to release resentment you have been holding, release it quietly, because when you cooperate with the shift heaven is initiating, the results unfold more smoothly, and your home becomes lighter not just physically but spiritually. There may have been nights when anxiety followed you into your room, when your mind replayed worst-case scenarios, when sleep felt distant because thoughts would not slow down, but tonight carries a different vibration, one that soothes rather than agitates, one that reassures rather than questions, one that strengthens rather than drains, and even if nothing visibly changes, you will sense internally that something has settled into place. The Archangel's alert is a reminder that you are not navigating life alone, that unseen protection surrounds your household, that negative influences lose strength when awareness grows, and that peace enters when fear is released. This is not about expecting something frightening, it is about recognizing that your environment is being prepared for better days, for answered prayers, for restored harmony. Sometimes the most important transformations happen quietly in the background while you go about your normal routine, and tonight is one of those turning points. While you wash dishes, while you organize your space, while you prepare for sleep, heaven is aligning timing, aligning opportunities, aligning conversations that will soon take place, aligning events that will begin unfolding in ways that make sense only later. Your house is becoming a place of renewal, a place where hope grows again, a place where confidence slowly rebuilds, and you may wake up tomorrow with a subtle but undeniable sense that something has shifted, that something heavy has lifted, that something hopeful has begun, and that feeling is the confirmation that the alert was not about danger but about preparation for goodness. Remember, divine movement rarely looks dramatic in the beginning. It looks like peace, it looks like clarity, it looks like strength returning quietly to your spirit, and when you cooperate with it instead of questioning it, you allow the blessing to anchor deeply in your life. Tonight, before sleeping, take a slow breath and say thank you even without full understanding. Gratitude stabilizes what heaven initiates, and trust accelerates what heaven plans. Your home is covered, your space is protected, your spirit is being strengthened, and what begins tonight will continue unfolding steadily in the days ahead. Hold on to calm, stay aware, and let the quiet shift continue working in your favor. There are moments when heaven does not interrupt your life loudly but instead steps into your space gently, almost invisibly, and tonight is one of those moments where something subtle yet powerful is unfolding inside your home, something that may not shake the walls or change your routine instantly, but will begin transforming the atmosphere in ways you cannot fully measure yet deeply feel. You have been carrying questions in your heart about your future, about stability, about whether things will finally turn around, and while you have tried to remain strong, there were nights when you silently wondered if anyone truly saw your effort, your patience, your quiet endurance, and this is where the divine shift begins because unseen protection has been strengthening around you long before you noticed it. Your house is more than a physical structure. It holds your energy, your prayers, your disappointments, your laughter, your hidden tears, and when heaven moves, it often begins with the environment that surrounds you daily, because transformation starts where you rest, where you think, where you dream, where you hope again after setbacks. Tonight, a gentle correction is happening behind the scenes, a rearranging of spiritual alignment that will affect conversations, decisions, opportunities, and even the way you perceive situations that once felt overwhelming. You may suddenly feel drawn to organize something, to clean a small area, to sit quietly without distraction, and these impulses are not random, they are invitations to cooperate with the shift that is already in motion. There has been pressure around you lately, subtle tension that made your mind restless, uncertainty that created invisible weight inside your chest, and even if you did not speak about it openly, you felt it internally, but what you may not realize is that protection was working silently during those moments, preventing certain outcomes, redirecting certain paths, delaying certain events that were not aligned with your growth. Tonight, that protection feels stronger, calmer, clearer, and you might notice that the heaviness you carried begins to dissolve without dramatic explanation, replaced by a steadier mindset, a quieter heart, a renewed sense that something good is preparing to surface. Sometimes heaven alerts you not to warn you of danger but to prepare you for elevation, because elevation requires emotional readiness, mental clarity, and spiritual stability, and your home is being aligned with that readiness now. The energy within your space is shifting from survival mode to preparation mode, from reaction to intention, from confusion to direction, and even if the external world looks unchanged, your internal world is being strengthened for what is approaching. There are conversations that will soon happen inside your walls that will bring clarity instead of conflict, decisions that will feel easier instead of stressful, and moments of understanding that will replace misunderstandings that once felt permanent. You may not see angels standing visibly in your living room, but the calm that begins to settle in your environment is evidence enough, the urge to breathe deeply before reacting, the ability to pause before speaking harshly, the sudden patience. Where irritation once dominated, these are signs of divine alignment restoring balance in your household. There have been patterns in your home that needed to break gently, cycles of stress or doubt that repeated without resolution, and tonight marks the beginning of that cycle shifting toward harmony. Your spirit has been tested recently, and while you did not always understand why delays happened or why certain plans fell apart, there was purpose behind the pause. What was withheld protected you from premature outcomes, what was delayed strengthened your discernment, what felt like silence was actually preparation. And now, inside your house, the next phase begins not with noise but with awareness, not with chaos but with clarity, not with fear but with reassurance. You may wake tomorrow with a different mindset, a clearer plan forming in your thoughts, a new idea about finances, work, relationships, or personal growth that feels more solid than previous attempts, and that clarity will not be coincidence, it will be the continuation of what begins tonight. Pay attention to subtle inspirations, to sudden realizations, to dreams that feel meaningful rather than random, because heaven often communicates through impressions before it manifests through events. There has also been unseen emotional healing happening around you, unresolved tension that lingered in your space is loosening, misunderstandings that created distance are softening, and even if others in your household do not immediately express it, their energy is shifting too. Harmony begins with one aligned spirit, and as your mindset steadies, it influences the atmosphere around you, turning your house into a place of stability rather than stress. You have underestimated your own resilience, doubted your own growth, questioned your own progress, but tonight is a reminder that unseen hands have been guiding your steps more closely than you realized. Doors that seemed closed permanently were simply waiting for the right timing, and timing is now being aligned carefully, precisely, intentionally. The alert is not about fear. It is about awareness that something unseen has been working quietly on your behalf. Before sleeping tonight, sit still for a moment and observe the peace that surrounds you, even if it is subtle. Acknowledge that your home is covered, that your efforts are seen, that your future is being arranged step by step. The transformation may not explode into your life dramatically overnight, but it will unfold steadily, confidently, in ways that strengthen rather than shock you. Your house is becoming a foundation for a new chapter, a chapter that begins with clarity, calm, and quiet confidence, and what unfolds from here will feel more stable than anything you have experienced recently. Stay aware, stay calm, stay grateful, because what is happening tonight inside your home is the beginning of alignment that will soon extend beyond your walls and into every area of your life. What is unfolding in your house tonight is not loud, dramatic, or chaotic, yet it is powerful enough to redirect the direction of your future in ways that will slowly become visible over the coming days. There are unseen shifts happening in your environment that are aligning your home with peace instead of pressure, clarity instead of confusion, and stability instead of uncertainty. You have felt for a while that something needed to change inside your household, whether it was the emotional atmosphere, the communication between you and others, the financial flow, or even your own internal state when you walk through your door after a long day, and that feeling was not random, it was preparation. Heaven often begins transformation in the space you live in because your home is the foundation of your energy, and when the foundation shifts, everything built upon it begins to adjust naturally. There were moments when your house felt heavy, not physically but emotionally, as if tension lingered in the air without explanation, as if conversations ended without resolution, as if certain worries kept repeating in cycles without progress, and even if you tried to ignore it, your spirit sensed that something needed alignment. Tonight, that alignment is taking place quietly. It may begin with small realizations, such as understanding someone's behavior more clearly, recognizing patterns you tolerated for too long, or feeling a sudden motivation to change routines that were draining you. These impulses are not accidental, they are divine nudges guiding you toward balance. The alert you received is not meant to create fear but awareness that protection and correction are operating simultaneously in your favor. There are situations connected to your household that were being handled behind the scenes without your full awareness, conversations that were delayed for your benefit. Who you are becoming rather than who you were. The heaviness that once lingered will feel lighter, and even simple routines like waking up, cooking, or relaxing will carry a calmer rhythm. Emotionally, you are stepping into maturity. Instead of seeking constant reassurance, you will start trusting your inner stability. Instead of waiting for others to change first, you will adjust your reactions. Instead of fearing conflict, you will approach conversations with clarity. This maturity is the key that stabilizes your household. When you operate from grounded confidence, chaos loses power. When you respond instead of react, tension loses fuel. That is the deeper transformation occurring tonight. Your house is transitioning from a place of survival to a place of preparation. Preparation for better opportunities, for stronger unity, for improved finances, for emotional healing. The alert you received was simply to make you aware that something important is shifting, not in panic but in purpose. What begins quietly tonight will continue unfolding in the coming days. You will notice smoother communication, clearer decisions, stronger discipline, and a renewed sense of hope inside your own walls. Trust the subtle improvements. Trust the calm that begins to replace confusion. Trust the stability forming beneath the surface. This is not temporary, it is foundational. The same house that once felt uncertain will become a place where growth feels natural. The same environment that once drained you will start strengthening you. And when you look back, you will realize that this was the night alignment quietly returned to your home and everything connected to it began moving with clarity. Instead of worrying about what might go wrong, you will start seeing what is gradually going right. The atmosphere will feel lighter, conversations will feel calmer, and even your rest will feel deeper because your spirit will sense that something stable is being built. Do not look for dramatic signs, look for subtle improvements. Notice when you feel less anxious. Notice when conversations flow more smoothly. Notice when you feel motivated instead of drained. These are confirmations that the shift is real. Tonight marks the beginning of a season where your home supports your growth rather than challenges your peace. The alignment happening now will extend beyond your walls into opportunities, relationships, and decisions that shape your future. Stay calm, remain aware, and trust the quiet correction taking place. What begins inside your house tonight will soon reflect in every area of your life, and when you look back, you will realize this was the moment stability truly started to build around you. There is something deeper unfolding inside your house tonight that goes beyond circumstances and touches the spiritual atmosphere surrounding you and everyone connected to your space. What is happening is not just about solving visible problems. It is about restoring authority, restoring peace, and restoring a sense of control that you quietly felt slipping away over the past weeks or months. You have endured situations inside your home that made you question your strength, your patience, and sometimes even your faith, yet you continued showing up, continued trying, continued holding things together even when you felt unseen. That quiet endurance has not gone unnoticed. Tonight is not about sudden noise or dramatic events. It is about a spiritual reset that begins in the unseen realm and gradually reflects in daily life. There were subtle pressures operating inside your environment that you could not fully explain, moments when small disagreements felt heavier than they should have, moments when motivation inside your own space felt strangely low, and even times when rest did not feel refreshing no matter how much sleep you got. Those patterns were signals that the atmosphere around you needed cleansing and recalibration. The alert is not meant to frighten you but to help you recognize that restoration is already in motion. You may start to notice that certain tensions dissolve without confrontation, that the energy inside your house feels calmer, that conversations carry less irritation and more understanding. This is not coincidence, it is alignment taking place gradually but firmly. Financial concerns connected to your household are also being reorganized quietly. If there has been uncertainty about bills, stability, or future planning, solutions are arranging themselves step by step. You may receive ideas about budgeting, new opportunities, or unexpected support that brings relief. Instead of panic, you will begin operating with strategy. Instead of reacting impulsively, you will respond thoughtfully. The shift begins internally first because once your mindset stabilizes, your decisions become sharper and your outcomes improve. The energy inside your house influences your financial flow more than you realize, and when peace settles in, clarity follows, and clarity attracts progress. Relationships inside your home are also entering a phase of correction. If there has been distance, reconnection is possible. If there has been misunderstanding, clarity is forming. If there has been silence, courage to speak calmly is building. You are being strengthened emotionally so that you no longer react from exhaustion but from awareness. You will begin setting healthier boundaries, not aggressively but confidently. You will recognize what behavior you can accept and what needs adjustment. This quiet authority will change the dynamic inside your house. People respond differently when your energy shifts from anxious to steady. There is also protection surrounding your space tonight. Certain influences that could have disrupted your peace are being redirected away from you. You might not see the full picture, but delays that frustrated you, canceled plans that confused you, or postponed conversations that annoyed you were not random. They were shields. When you understand that some interruptions are protection, your perspective changes from disappointment to gratitude. You begin trusting that not everything you want immediately is good for you immediately. That awareness will prevent you from inviting stress back into your house. You may also feel inspired to physically change something in your environment, to rearrange furniture, clean spaces that felt neglected, remove items that carry old memories, or reorganize rooms that feel cluttered. These impulses are not superficial, they are symbolic of the internal clearing happening within you. When you change your surroundings, you signal readiness for new energy. Your home will start reflecting who you are becoming rather than who you were. The heaviness that once lingered will feel lighter, and even simple routines like waking up, cooking, or relaxing will carry a calmer rhythm. Emotionally, you are stepping into maturity. Instead of seeking constant reassurance, you will start trusting your inner stability. Instead of waiting for others to change first, you will adjust your reactions. Instead of fearing conflict, you will approach conversations with clarity. This maturity is the key that stabilizes your household. When you operate from grounded confidence, chaos loses power. When you respond instead of react, tension loses fuel. That is the deeper transformation occurring tonight. Your house is transitioning from a place of survival to a place of preparation. Preparation for better opportunities, for stronger unity, for improved finances, for emotional healing. The alert you received was simply to make you aware that something important is shifting, not in panic but in purpose. What begins quietly tonight will continue unfolding in the coming days. You will notice smoother communication, clearer decisions, stronger discipline, and a renewed sense of hope inside your own walls. Trust the subtle improvements. Trust the calm that begins to replace confusion. Trust the stability forming beneath the surface. This is not temporary, it is foundational. The same house that once felt uncertain will become a place where growth feels natural. The same environment that once drained you will start strengthening you. And when you look back, you will realize that this was the night alignment quietly returned to your home and everything connected to it began moving in a better direction. There is a final layer of understanding that needs to settle in your heart about what is unfolding around you and within your home, because what began as an alert is now becoming clarity, and clarity always leads to authority. You were not shown this message to create anxiety but to awaken awareness, and awareness is powerful because once you become aware of a shift, you begin cooperating with it instead of resisting it. Tonight is not about something dramatic bursting through your door. It is about a spiritual realignment that stabilizes your household from the inside out, and this stabilization will begin to show itself in small but undeniable ways. You will sense a calmness that feels different from ordinary quiet, a steadiness that feels intentional, almost as if the invisible weight you had been carrying without realizing it has been gently lifted off your shoulders. Your house has witnessed your silent prayers, your private frustrations, your moments of exhaustion when you questioned whether you were doing enough, and your moments of courage when you kept going anyway. The walls have absorbed your tears, your laughter, your worries about the future, and your hope that things would eventually improve. That energy does not disappear, it accumulates, and when it accumulates without release, it can create a heaviness that lingers in the atmosphere. What is happening tonight is a release. It is a cleansing of accumulated emotional residue. It is the beginning of a new emotional climate inside your space. You may not see it with your eyes, but you will feel it in your body, in the way you breathe more deeply, in the way you respond more calmly, in the way you sleep more peacefully. There have been subtle battles that you were not fully aware of, moments when tension tried to root itself in your environment, moments when misunderstandings could have grown into permanent distance, moments when fear about finances or stability tried to control your thoughts. Those influences were real, but they were never stronger than the protection around you. The alert was not about danger, it was about assurance. It was a reminder that what tries to disturb your peace cannot remain when you become conscious of your authority. And tonight, you are stepping into that authority without force, without fear, without confrontation, simply through alignment. Financial alignment inside your home is also entering a new rhythm. If you have felt uncertain about income, about long-term stability, about whether your efforts are enough, understand that clarity precedes provision. Ideas will begin to come more clearly. Opportunities that once seemed distant will start appearing reachable. You may feel guided to reorganize your priorities, to cut unnecessary expenses, to pursue a new path, or to reconnect with a skill you once ignored. These impressions are not random thoughts, they are part of the restructuring happening within you. When your inner structure becomes disciplined and calm, external results follow naturally. Wealth does not only arrive through sudden miracles, it also arrives through wiser decisions, and wiser decisions are forming inside you now. Relationships within your house will also experience subtle restoration. If there has been distance between you and someone under the same roof, conversations will soften. If there has been unresolved tension, you will find the courage to speak with maturity instead of emotion. If there has been silence, that silence will no longer feel heavy but reflective. You are learning to communicate without aggression and to listen without defensiveness. That shift alone can transform an entire household. When one person changes their emotional posture, the dynamic of the whole environment shifts. You are that person. You may notice that certain people who brought instability into your space gradually lose influence. Their presence, their words, or their opinions will no longer carry the same weight. This is not about cutting everyone off, it is about recognizing who truly supports your peace and who disrupts it. Discernment is strengthening within you. You are becoming more selective about what you allow into your house, into your mind, and into your emotional field. That selectiveness is protection, not isolation. It is maturity. There is also a renewal of hope forming inside you, a quiet excitement about the future of your home. You may begin imagining improvements, renovations, relocations, expansions, or simply a healthier atmosphere filled with laughter instead of tension. These visions are not fantasies, they are previews of possibility. When your environment aligns with stability, growth becomes natural. You will begin to see your house not just as a place of shelter but as a foundation for expansion. Tonight represents a threshold. On one side is the old emotional weight, the unspoken stress, the uncertainty that quietly drained you. On the other side is clarity, discipline, protection, and peace. The transition is subtle but permanent. The heaviness that once hovered in your environment is dissolving because you are no longer operating from confusion, you are operating from awareness. Awareness changes everything. As this alignment settles, you will feel stronger without needing validation, calmer without needing explanation, and more confident without needing approval. Your house will begin reflecting this internal upgrade. The same rooms that once felt ordinary will feel lighter. The same routines that once felt tiring will feel manageable. The same responsibilities that once overwhelmed you will feel structured. That is the sign that the shift has completed its foundation. What began as an alert is ending as assurance. Nothing dramatic needs to happen for transformation to be real. Sometimes the greatest miracles are quiet recalibrations that remove invisible pressure and restore invisible balance. Tonight is one of those moments. And as you move forward from this point, you will realize that your house is no longer just a physical structure but a protected, aligned, and strengthened space where growth is not only possible but inevitable. If this message spoke directly to your situation, don't stay silent. Pause right now and type, "I receive this protection," in the comments to seal this alignment over your house. Like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe so you never miss the next divine message meant specifically for you. Your peace and your future are too important to ignore.